Hello, dear viewers, and welcome to a new episode of Games and Names. Our sport for this episode is the sport of Jiu-Jitsu, and our featured star guest is national team player Mu'taz Damasi. So let's get to know more about Jiu-Jitsu here in Egypt and about Captain Damasi in the upcoming minutes of Games and Names.
Jiu-Jitsu is a martial art. It's a self-defense sport. An old sport with Indian origin. It's possible to use Jiu-Jitsu to defend oneself even if the opponent happens to be of bigger muscular power or happens to carry a weapon. Jiu-Jitsu has a number of belts that indicate one's perfection of the sport, like the white belt, one for the beginners, and the black belt, an indication for a professional player. The players also wear a vest called the kimono, which is made of light cotton material. If the match ends in a draw, another one is to be scheduled to decide the winner. If one of the players commits a grave violation of the sport's rules, he gets suspended and naturally his opponent wins. Two bodies organize matches and tournaments in the sport of Jiu-Jitsu. They are the International Federation of Jiu-Jitsu, which organizes a World Cup every 4 years. That international federation was formed in the year 1977. The other federation is a Brazilian federation that oversees the sport, as Brazil has adopted this sport at the moment. Jiu-Jitsu matches are 5 minutes old. They consist of only one round. The match ends with one player forcing the other to surrender, or if a player wins via points. The points are awarded by the main judge and his assistants.
اسمي معتز الضماصي 29 سنة لاعب برازيليان جيجيتسو
My name is
حزام
Mu'taz Damasi. I'm 29 years of age, and I play Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I own a violet belt. I started playing in the year 2017 in the Egypt Open. That was at the end of 2017. That was my first championship. My coach is Captain Muhammad Fawzi, who is the head of the Samurai Academy. I started playing the game like any other player with my hands and legs, but due to an amputation that I suffered in one of my hands while serving in the army, I had to focus on mainly playing with my leg, and my power was the use of my legs in the sport, and thank God I was able to do very well, though I depended mainly solely on my legs and not my hands. As I said, my first tournament was the 2017 Egypt Open, where I came in third, and then the 2018 Egypt Open, where I finished second, and my third and last championship was 2019. It was also the Egypt Open, but I was not fortunate enough to make it to the podium that time around. I think that agility and physical fitness are two of the most important characteristics that a jiu-jitsu player must possess, and that is before strength or power. It's very important for the technique to be agile and to be physically fit, and the technique is the thing that allows you to defeat an opponent. We now in Egypt have a number of very good players who play regularly in international competitions and who possess belts and high-level belts in the sport. We compete here in the region with the UAE and with Saudi Arabia, and of course Brazil is the top in the sport, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that is. And we will be expanding the sport here in Egypt in the near future, I'm sure. And there are some good developments that are taking place, including, for instance, The martial art of judo really focuses on how to make your opponent fall to the ground and how to fix him to the ground, if you can say so, by throwing him and making his elbows fixed to the ground until you get your ippon. While Aikido is the art of breaking up bones, if we can say so, while Jiu-Jitsu is the art of submission. That is how to make your opponent surrender and submit on the ground. We don't yet have an official Jiu-Jitsu association here in Egypt, but we are forming it. And the semi-official association that we have registers players. Of course, any player who is going to participate in any tournament, being it here in Egypt or abroad, must be registered in the semi-official association that we have for Jiu-Jitsu and must be strong, physically fit, and possess all the techniques and the arts of our sport. We organize a lot of seminars here for the sport of Jiu-Jitsu in Egypt, and they are administered by Captain Muhammad Fawzi, who gathers the players from all across the country. And really, the aim of the seminars is the education and the development of the players and coaches in the sport. Well, the sport, I can say, is being dominated by the Gracie family, of course, the most renowned jiu-jitsu family around the world, Ricardo Gracie and others. They've been dominating the sport really since the year 1960 or 1965, and members of the Gracie family are spread all across the globe to teach the art of jiu-jitsu and administer the development of the sport.
متشعبة في العالم دلوقتي كله.
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance, not the life I want to live. I want to take it all, standing tall, fear I weighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
The sport of jiu-jitsu started in Egypt by around the year 2007. It was introduced here in Egypt by Captain Muhammad Fawzi, who summoned a number of experts and masters of jiu-jitsu from around the globe so as to introduce the sport here in Egypt. And we were lucky to be joined by MMA players and kickboxing players who chose to join our sport, and especially the kickbox athletes wanted to learn the art of jiu-jitsu so as to benefit them in future MMA participations. I think that the sport is spreading fast here in Egypt. We are beginning to have a credible and big base here in Egypt, but we need more from the media. We need more from TV, from social media. We need to highlight the achievements of some of our champions in the sport, because we do have many champions, be it here at the local level or the continental level or the international level. We have many champions in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that need to be reckoned and need to be known and need to be given the credit they deserve. This will definitely help in spreading the sport even further. We organize two or three Egypt Opens per year, and those are the most important championships that are organized on Egyptian ground, along, of course, with the hosting of the AGB tour that comes in every once in a while, and that is happening in the year 2023. Internationally, of course, the Grand Slam or the Abu Dhabi tournaments or the AGB administered by the United Arab Emirates is the prime tournament, and we will be having an AGB tournament here in Egypt in 2023. Again, the UAE is really overseeing the development of the sport globally, we can say so. Now, our dream in the sport is to have Jiu-Jitsu join the Olympic schedule. It is, of course, very important and essential to have an independent jiu-jitsu association here in Egypt and not to have one that is affiliated with another sport like the case is now that we have a jiu-jitsu association affiliated with the Association of Judo. An independent association will definitely help our cause, and we are moving there. I want to say that we have a lot of academies who help to spread the sport here in Egypt and who bring out a number of players who participate in international tournaments. And academies are expanding. They've been expanding really since 2008. And as we speak, they are expanding, and this is definitely helping the cause of the sport here in Egypt. Before my injury, I used to be a kickboxing and an MMA player, but after I had that, hand amputation, I focused solely on jiu-jitsu. It was the only martial art I could play, and because of my great love and admiration for martial arts, I had to stay with martial arts as a way of life, and that's why I switched to jiu-jitsu, and I had to depend on my legs more than on my hands, and I found myself in jiu-jitsu, which again I believe is a way of life. And I want to thank really Coach Muhammad Fawzi for what he did with me. He has been a great inspiration to me and a great help.
Well, I tried to tell you so, but I guess you didn't know. As the sad story goes, baby, now I got the flow. 'Cause I knew it from the start, baby, when you broke my heart, that I had to come again to show you that I'm with. You lied to me all those times I said that I loved you. You lied to me. Yes, I tried. Yes, I tried. You lied to me, even though you know I'd die for you. You lied to me. Yes, I cried. Yes, I cried. Return of the man. There it is. Return of the man. Come on. Return of the man. My God, you know that I'll be back. Here I am. Return of the man. Once again. Return of the man. Top of the world. Return of the man. Watch my flow. You know that I'll be back. Here I go. You know that I'll be back. You know that I'll be back. So I'm back up in the game, running things like half my swing, letting all the people know that I'm back to run the show. 'Cause what you did, you know was wrong, and all the nasty things you've done. So baby, listen carefully while I sing my comeback song. You lied to me, 'cause she said she'd never turn on me. You lied to me, but you did, but you did. You lied to me, all this pain you said I never feel. You lied to me, but I do, do. Return of the man, there it is. Return of the man, come on. Return of the man, my God, you know that I'll be back. Here I am. Return of the man, once again.
في الأيام العادية في التدريب
Our regular
بيكون
training
أيام 3
schedule
أيام في
features
الأسبوع
3 days per week,
بيبدأ اليوم
and
بتاعنا
usually
بعبارة
the
عن
training session starts with
لياقة
a
بدنية
physical
تكنيكس
fitness exercise,
وتدريب
and then exercises on
وسبارينج مع
techniques, and it ends with sparring between the players so as to get players used
ده
to
في الأيام العادية لما بنكون
the
في
fights
قبل
that
المباراة
they
بنبقى عندنا
engage
ضغط نفسي شوية
into during
بنخلي مثلا
championships. And
3 أيام في الأسبوع
as
7
we
أيام
near a tournament
بنتجمع فيهم بنلعب
time,
في الأرض
we
الكابتن محمد
increase
بيقدر إن هو
training
ينظم
sessions
لنا تكنيكس
to
أزيد
4
ونطبقها بشكل أكبر وأوسع
exercises per
علشان خاطر
week. We
نقدر
have
إن
the
إحنا
3 regular
ننافس
days,
دوت
and
في
then we have
البطولة
a
ونيجي قبل
specific
البطولة
special day
يعني
just
بأسبوع
for
مثلا
fights
نبدأ
and
نريح
for
فيه
sparring
علشان الفايتر ما
and
يستحملش
for
البطولة أكتر
seminars and
يشارك
for
فيها.
the
أيام
laying out of
الأجواء
new
اللعبة
techniques and
المحلية
special techniques that
يعني
suit each
بنخليها في كابتن محمد
player
فوزي
on his
كابتن محمد
or her
فوزي
own.
هو
And
الوحيد
of
اللي
course,
تقريبا في
just
مصر
before the tournament
البيلت اللي هو
starts,
يقدر
we
ان هو
usually
يوصلها
wind
للعالم
down
كله بصراحة يعني
our
كابتن محمد
exercises
احنا
so
دايما
as to
بنعرف الناس يعني ايه
relax
فوزي احنا كلنا عرفناه عن
and
طريق كابتن
get
محمد فوزي
ready for the
عالميا
tournament
يعني زي ما قلت
so as not
لحضرتك
to be
كان
exhausted once we get
جريسي
into
وفايلر
official
الاساسيين في لعبة
fights.
الجوجيتسو هم
Locally, I think there
العناصر
is no
المشهورة
doubt that
يعني
Captain Muhammad
على
Fauzi
المستوى الشخصي
has to be
طبعا
considered the biggest
اي حد بيفكر
jiu-jitsu
في لعبة
figure
الجوجيتسو
here
في
in
المهنية
Egypt, and
والأولمبية
that
وفي
great
كل
black
حاجة
belt
يعني
champion is
يعني
the reason that we now
ان شاء
have
الله باذن الله
jiu-jitsu
يبقى
in
الواحد
Egypt, and
يعني
we've
فاكر
had it for
ده على
15
مستوى
years
الشخصي وعلى مستوى
or so. Of course, globally, as I
يشارك في
told
بطولة
you
ولا
before, the
اتنين
Gracie
كبيرة
family
ويكون
has to be
محمد رأس
credited with the spread of
يعني
the
يعرفوا
sport.